Good evening, everyone. Nice to see everyone's here tonight. Delighted to be here to talk about effective content for brands. I just wanted to start, for those who are not familiar with the Branded Content Marketing Association, or BCMA. We've been around since 2003. I've been part of the BCMA for about 10 years now. And I really came into the organisation to look at the whole area of measurement and research and effectiveness. So I'm pleased that we're talking about that tonight. We are really all about best practice and shared learning. As I say, we're a global organisation. And we work in partnerships with lots of different associations, including the IPA, which is one of our key partners. Our most recent partnership we announced was with D&AD, which we felt was an interesting move because they've recently this year had the branded content and entertainment category included in their awards for the first time. So they're helping us in putting together our Best of Branded Content Marketing publication, our ebook, which is our third edition. The previous two have been downloaded and shared around 70,000 times. So I think, you know, the content within them that shows the best of branded content marketing is doing right for the industry. But I think tonight I'm going to focus on the Content Monitor, which is our proprietary measurement system. So just to give you a bit of background, as I say, I came into the organisation to pull together the whole area of effectiveness, and I thought, well, coming from a sort of TV buying background, which is where I grew up in the industry at Young and Rubicam with Janet, a long time ago, I thought, well, why shouldn't branded content be as accountable as any sort of advertising? So we approached all the big research companies, and eventually we ended up working with Ipsos Mori, because we felt they gave us the impact and the global nature of measuring content. So effectively what Content Monitor does, it tells us how the campaign is performing against key brand metrics, it tells you which element of the campaign is working best, and it also tells you what could be done differently. And we really felt that we had to have something that was modular, something that was flexible, because it needed to suit different types of campaigns. Because every campaign these days has so many different elements on it, whether that be through paid, owned, or earned media. We need to understand what each of those elements is doing. So what we did when we set out on this journey, and it has been a journey, we came to all the leading organisations and we introduced them the idea of measuring branded content. We came to the IPA, we worked with Lynn Robinson, who's head of research at the IPA, and also went to ISBA, who look after the advertisers, and also to Thinkbox. And we got their backing to do this because we felt it was something that was needed in the industry. And to date, those are some of the brands, the platforms, and the organisations that have used the Content Monitor. And we have a number of case studies which are available that shows you the different campaigns. I'm not going to sort of go into lots of detail, but I've just given you some sort of headlines from some of the studies that we've run through lots of different organisations. And, you know, to be fair, when we first came to the market, there was some cynicism about it. So, for example, you know, HSBC say, look, you know, we spend millions of pounds on research. What are you going to tell us about our customers? So we persevered. I'm nothing but tenacious. And we have a lot of different metrics. So really, it's about what metrics are you trying to measure? What do you want to get out of it? So everything that we see here has been generated from content, branded content. So content has made a difference for those brands. And actually, we asked the client for a quote, always like a quote. So, you know, he said, look, it's very hard retrospectively to determine the impact of a campaign with the target audience. And in this case, we were looking at people that had over £1 million worth of liquid asset in their account. Quite a niche target audience there. But what this research has given us is real insight, not to whether the target audience liked it or not, but which of the different elements and how they made them feel towards the brand and which messages were coming across strongest. So I think it's very interesting. And I think when you look at the example of the Mercedes campaign, you know, that's run for 3 years. You know, this is all about measuring ongoing sort of metrics for the campaign. So, you know, and they came back and they used it again. And I always say, you know, when, you know, a good measure of whether something is right is people come back and use it again and again. So some of the insights that we've taken from these studies is that, you know, there's lots of them, but I've just picked out the sort of top 5 that sort of come through. Now, you might say, well, you know, all this is pretty obvious stuff really, Andrew, isn't it? But you know what? the thing about it is that we've proved and we have the evidence and the data to back it up. And I think that's what brands and agencies really need to sell through the concept of branded content. So combining it with traditional advertising is more powerful. It can be both informative and emotive. Original branded content can impact positively on your brands. And actually the promotion of the branded content itself is extremely powerful. Over the years, we've seen a lot of examples where people haven't really invested in the campaign. They've created some amazing content, but what they haven't done is activated. They haven't supported it throughout. And again, we've proved that is the power. And I think going back to Marie's point, it has to be fully integrated into what you're doing. There's no point having it as a nice to have. The number of pitches I went through back in the media days where we thought, oh, we must come up with an AFP idea because, it makes us look, innovative. And did any client ever buy that? No. But we learned from that. And, I always say you learn from things that don't go wrong than the things that do. So those are some of the insights that we've learned. Moving on to another area we've looked at is this whole area of defining branded content. What is it? I mean, I can ask, a number of you in this room, and you probably come up with something different in terms of, well, is it advertiser-funded programming? Is it branded entertainment? Is it long-form content? Is it short-form vignettes? Is it product placement? I could go on. So what we did is we worked with Ipsos, and we also approached Oxford Brookes University because their business school was looking into this whole area. And we thought, well, there needs to be some sort of study that looks at this whole area in sort of an academic sense. So the first phase of the campaign was to look at analyse a practitioner and academic literature, publications of what's sort of been going on in the last 12 to 18 months in the industry. So from that, we came up with a definition, and don't forget, this is looking at branded content for the digital age. So our definition from the study said that branded content is any content that can be associated with the brand in the eye of the beholder. Now, you might think that's broad, but at least it puts a stake in the ground to say, well, look, this is what branded content is in the context of the digital world. And really what's happened, obviously, the acceleration of social media and the internet has really meant that, even an ad these days could be seen as being branded content. So it kind of opens up the debate in that respect. But we're not just going to stop there, because the next phase, or phases of the study, is to interview industry experts around, mainly from the UK, but some from a more global perspective as well, to look at the conceptualization of the term and to update that original definition to look at a more industry-focused definition. Because I think also, if you look at some of the awards around the world, whether that's Cannes Lion or the DNADs, and now even the Drum Content Awards, they all have a slightly different way of defining what branded content is. So we're working with those organisations to put in place this definition. And also, for the marketing fraternity to look at this as a whole, it's still an emerging area. We sometimes forget that. Even though, going back to John Deere, and actually the Michelin Guide, which is another good example, have been around for forever. So our next sort of research will be published in the autumn. And that's me. I thought I'd keep it quite brief, but hopefully that's given you some sort of insight into the work we do. So thank you very much.